Okay, so I'm just going to be talking about some interventions you guys might not have thought of yet for your kids as far as some underlying skills, regulation, strengthening, all of those things. Sorry, I need to admit everyone before I start talking. All right, so let me share my screen. Hold on, I still need to admit people before I do that. Sorry, guys. All right. All right, so I hope that's everyone. No, it's not. Hold on. I can't share it because then I can't admit it. Hold up.
Ellie, they'll pop up as you're sharing. And you can click admit.
Well, didn't on a Chromebook too.
It should. It just like pops up as a notification on top.
Oh, perfect. Okay. All right. So yeah, practical strategies for some things you guys might not have thought of yet. So here's the topics you guys can read. Gross motor coordination, strength, crossing midline, regulating the nervous system, activities for all of those, some brain break activities that you guys can incorporate, and then a really quick fine motor skill, couple slides. Okay, so gross motor coordination, why is that important? What is that? It just means big movements. So think jumping jacks, think catching a ball. The more coordinated those big movements are, the more coordinated small movements will be. And same with upper body strength. The stronger the client is, their core strength, hand strength, the better their fine motor skills. So if you see a client that has trouble with handwriting, cutting, don't just think about that actual task. Think about the coordination and strength as well. And you can incorporate some of these interventions to further progress the client. So jumping jacks, hand claps, animal walks. I mean, you guys can read, but really just the goal of this is think full body movements. We want to get these kids moving their bodies out of their chairs. With technology, they're not moving like we used to as kids. So just incorporate those full body movements throughout the day for your kids because they really benefit from them. It seems so simple, but they will benefit. I'm not seeing notifications, so I'm worried. Where do I go? Oh, here. Okay, sorry, Kenzie. All right, we're good. All right, and then the second underlying skill that you guys might not have thought of is crossing midline. So what that means is just if something's on the right side of your body and you cross it over this middle line to the left side of your body. So you're using your right hand and touching your left shoulder. That's crossing midline. And why is that important? Well, it creates brain connections between your right and left hemispheres. So if a kid can't cross midline, they might appear ambidextrous, but they're actually usually not. They just can't cross midline. So if something's on the right side of their body, they use their right hand. If something's on the left side, they use their left hand. So if you see a kid that doesn't have a hand dominance and they're 4 and up, start doing some crossing midline activities with them to help build those connections. It also helps with attention and learning. There's studies done that it improves their test scores after doing crossing midline activities. So don't sleep on crossing midline. And again, here are some activities that you guys can incorporate. I always start with just having the kid touch their opposite shoulder. So touching your right hand to your right shoulder, left hand to your left shoulder. And you'll be surprised that our kids that cannot do this, they cannot cross midline. Once you start seeing it, you cannot unsee it. So you guys will have these slides. I'm not going to go over all of these activities. You can also Google crossing midline activities, but just something super simple and super awesome to incorporate in your sessions pretty easily. Okay, and then the third thing is regulation. This is probably my favorite thing of all. So it's just essential for our children to feel calm and safe in their body. Let me real quick, make sure. Oh, dang, my bad. You guys will have access to the slides. Sorry if I started without you. Okay. So regulation. So like I said, a lot of our kids are in their fight or flight mode, meaning their nervous systems are not regulated. So obviously they get triggered easier. It's harder for them to focus. So using regulation techniques, I call it body work, can really calm the nervous system. So just think, if you get a massage before work or do yoga before work, are you going to react to things differently during the day? Most likely, yeah, because your nervous system is at a calm state. So you can focus better. You probably are in a better mood. It's the same with our kids. So incorporating some regulation activities with them is a really good strategy to incorporate. And obviously, this isn't the only thing that improves mood, attention. We just talked about a bunch of things today that do that as well. But this is just, again, another tool for your toolbox. So you can do these throughout the day. You never force them, but they're just really good to add for our kids. So there's about a million different ones you can do. I'm just going to go over a couple. So touch is so important. It's so good for bonding, for having a child feel safe and calm. So real quick, I'm just going to show you embracing squeezes. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're good. Okay, so you guys probably do squeezes on your kids already, and that's awesome. There is a more therapeutic way to do these that really impacts the nervous system, and it's very simple. It's so simple. You're going to be like, is this even helping? But it is. So you always start from the farthest point away from the body, so the hand, if you're doing upper extremities. And instead of just squeezing along their arm, you actually hold it for at least 7 seconds. If they can't tolerate it, that's fine. Just do what you can do. It's never going to be perfect. But in a perfect world, you would start at the hand and then move up the arm. I always have the clients lay down on their back when I do this to just further increase their calming. Obviously, it's more calm to lay down. So yeah, you just go up the arm. And again, it's so simple. You're like, what the heck? But trust me, it's amazing. And then over time, you're actually maturing the nervous system. So you won't just see results right after, you'll see them overall. And then for legs, so you can start at the foot, or if they won't let you touch their feet, just start at the ankle. Work your way up. And obviously don't go like too far above the knee. It's ticklish. But yeah, embracing squeezes. If you remember anything from this, make it be embracing squeezes and try those with your kids. Obviously, deep breathing, you guys do that. Yoga, you guys know that. So say your kid will not let you touch them to do embracing squeezes. They're like, get off of me. Lots of kids are like that. So that's where I kind of fall into some equipment or different sensory activities. This is a body sock. These are amazing. The kids literally love them. It just provides that deep pressure. It makes them feel safe in their body. It brings them back into their body. Weighted blankets are amazing as well for keeping their body nice and calm. Tactile sensory bins, so rice, beans, sand, you guys have those, I'm sure. But use this before you do some fine motor skills. Like, do a little warm up with your kids to get them feeling extra calm and safe in their body. That never hurts, it only helps. Shaving cream, another amazing one for calming. You guys can read. I have an LED neon light the kids will love. So just some ideas. And then, like I said, I always do a warm up with most of my kids, just to get their bodies and minds ready to learn, get them out of their seat, move their body. And you guys can Google those on YouTube. You guys know that. You guys probably do all this. So examples of a warm up. So for a high level kid, I do jumping jacks, cross crawls, hook up for a minute with deep breathing. I didn't show you the hookup video, but YouTube a hookup from Brain Gym, literally write that down. They're so easy and the kids love them. And I do them with the kids. I need this too all day, trust me. And then embracing squeezes. This would be an amazing warm up for your higher level kids to get them focused and ready. And then lower level, meaning, less direction needed. Start with embracing squeezes, have them imitate touching their opposite shoulder and ear, get that crossing midline in, and then using a weighted blanket. So I just said a crap ton of information. Hopefully You guys can go back, but the main goal of what I just said was do more full body stuff with your kids, do more strengthening, get them out of their seat, and then do those relaxation techniques as well. Use equipment when you see fit. And I'm always available to answer any questions for you guys as far as if you want to try out some equipment, because I have a lot of stuff, or if you want some more manual techniques I do on the kids, just let me know and I would love to help. And Cassie, my student, is going to go ahead and get on.
Hi.
Cassie can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say like the weighted blankets kind of in the chat session. So yeah, a burrito or a swaddle does work well. I mean, I've seen Allie and then me personally with the kiddo just kind of more directed. A lot of the kids will put it on top of them anyway, and just say they kind of like it. And so I mean, there isn't necessarily like a time to use it. I guess we just kind of redirect from it. But like, I know people that sleep with weighted blankets on their own bed. So it's not necessary as long as it's calming and it's something that they want to do. I use it. So yes, so I'm going to talk more about like grasp, Allie, wherever it went.
I can barely hear you. I'm sorry, what?
Where the grasp is, like where did it go?
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Oh, you're fine. So patterns of hand function. It's kind of dependent on exploration, and it is your interactions that you have: postural mechanisms, cognition, social emotional functions, visual perceptions. There are many patterns, obviously, like here. So I'm just going to highlight two that our kiddos may have a lot of difficulty with. So grasping items, and then kind of what we talked about before, bimanual coordination or bilateral integration, using both sides of their body to complete tasks. So on this slide, there's a lot of tool use going on. I love that every classroom has these things, and it's important in our skill acquisition. So give the kids ample opportunity to play with all of these things: crayons, pencils, and different sizes, and as well. So because all of these tools eventually kind of lead, they're necessary for eating, self-care, and all of the above that we see our clients do. So next, you'll see a variety. Our kids will demonstrate a variety of these hand grasping patterns, and I like to see G and above, what we call tripod, and up to tripod grasp. But you'll see A and C and E and F a lot. So as long as what we're going to try to do with the kiddos is model and demonstrate, so it's kind of on the next one, on the next slide there, is that just model and do like hand over hand tripod grasp, trying with the kiddos to make sure that they are showing a mature grasp pattern. So kind of like I said, it is, establishing the hand dominance. You can demonstrate the grasp with them hand over hand, and it's okay if they have 4 too. That's also a what we call functional grasp. If the kiddo has like their thumb and all 4 fingers kind of on it as they're using it, as long as it's functional for them, then that's okay. And then, yeah, pre-writing is important. So pre-writing skills are fundamental to letter formation. So these are the pencil strokes that most letters, numbers, and early drawings are comprised of. So that's what I work a lot on with the kiddos, in various shapes and forms, with markers, with slime, shaving cream, different modalities, so that they're able to start completing these types of lines on their own. So to grasp and handwriting, you can use smaller writing utensils, broken crayons, pencil grips. We just started using this slant board with a client of ours who fatigues really easily, and it has definitely helped with his upright posture. And even though he still moves his shoulder a lot of the times, it's definitely, I've seen an improvement in the way that he holds a writing utensil, and then how long he's able to attend to his task. And so, I mean, so leading into hand over hand to tactile sensitive, I would just continue to model it for them. Or like if they're just becoming really defensive with that tactile, just continue to model it. And then I feel like eventually the more modalities and things you use as you're showing them what it looks like, they will model and imitate. But Allie can also chime in there if she feels.
I'm sorry, what?
Just like how should you lead into, so like we a lot of the times with our kiddos, we will put our hand like over theirs to correct a grasp pattern. But so how would you lead into hand over hand if a client is like really tactile sensitive and becomes overwhelmed easily with like people touching them, things touching them?
Yeah. So, I mean, you can use pencil grips. You can use really short crayons so they basically have to grasp it correctly. They don't have a choice. There's no room on the utensil for it. Or just let them go if they're becoming defensive. You don't want to make them aversive to handwriting tasks. So that would be my suggestion.
Perfect. So then next is, kind of like when we talked about all of this earlier. So also like bilateral coordination, crossing midline, these are things that require kiddos to use both hands and both sides of the brain. So like we talked about earlier, these kiddos may primarily use one hand or switch hands during tasks. So that means they need to work on their coordination. So once we do that, it helps with all of the above and what we work on in OT, self-care, handwriting, dressing, grooming, etc. Next, and then similar to what we talked about earlier, activities to encourage and increase bilateral coordination, touching opposite shoulder ear, playing catch, have some kiddos that love doing that at first, lacing cards, Legos, stringing beads, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah.
All right. So we kind of flew through that, but that is it. Does anyone have any questions? I couldn't see the chat. I couldn't see anything. Chromebooks just are not great. So,
Allie, can you talk about the regulation technique you showed me, just because it works so well when you push with both thumbs on the hand and kind of spread out?
Yes, good question. So the embracing squeeze I showed you guys, you use two hands. Obviously, are you talking about using two hands like this or the rubbing down? Okay, yeah. So you could
Like when you rub across the palm to get the hands ready.
Oh, the palmar. Yeah. So there's another there's a lot, but I love that you brought this up because I can share this one. There's a lot, but there's one on the hands that kids love. They'll just hold out their hand and be like, do this to me. It also integrates reflexes. It's super good. So you just take their hand and you use both of your hands and you go right across the middle of their palm. So pretend I'm using my thumbs, but I can't. And you just spread right across and you go slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's good, especially before fine motor, to kind of wake up their hands. It's good for calming. I do those like all day, every day. So that's another good one other than embracing squeezes. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for showing it, because I have a specific kiddo that it really works for. So it's really cool to see. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else?
That's the same thing you can do like on their feet, right? That like you've said before helps like really relax them.
Yes. Do you guys want to see my foot? Yeah, you just go up the foot, the bottom of the foot, underneath the big toe. Kids love this one. And you just spread out again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's really hard to show on a computer, but if you guys ever want to know any of these techniques, just email me. I can come show you guys on your kids, anything like that. Okay, good question, Gretchen. We have an older kid, so embracing squeezes might not be as appropriate to do themselves. So yeah, you could teach them to do it themselves. But honestly, I think as long as you're not going above the knee, even though they're older, it's just kind of like getting a massage. Like therapeutic touch can be so beneficial that to me it's appropriate. Do you know what I'm saying? As long as you're not going above the knee or anything. So I wouldn't just totally disregard it because the kid's older, because it's really good for them. So Gretchen, I hope that kind of answers your question. They can do it to themselves. It's just, it's not, it's great, but it's not the same as someone else doing it. So, oh, cool, Kenzie. That's awesome that you're in OT school. You're gonna
Allie,
learn all the fun stuff.
I was going to say too, for the older kids, because I used to work with the adolescents back in the day, and I totally get the uncomfortable thing and like not crossing boundaries, using like other things too to help like squeeze. So it's not like necessarily you touching them, like maybe putting like a pillow around their calf and like squeezing, folding the pillow around and doing it that way, like just kind of like around the parameters of what's going on.
Yeah, you could definitely do that. I will say though, the benefit of just like human touch, I know they're older, so you don't want to make it weird, but just in a therapeutic way, in a loving, you have to bond with your kid first. You're not just going to pull up and be like, hello, I'm going to start touching your legs. Like you want to build rapport. They want to know they're safe. But yeah, if the kid just hates it and is like, get off of me, obviously you don't force this. So yeah, you can use pillows. We have some brushes. They can brush themselves for calming. So that's a great point, Emily, to do that as well. But just don't be afraid of this for your kids as well. It's kind of, might seem weird to you guys, but it's really helpful. So
Thank you. That helps.
yeah. Okay, so are joint compression exercises like wrist and shoulder acceptable? Yes, that's another great one. You guys can, that's on YouTube, so I'm not going to try to show you because it's hard, but joint compressions, similar. You're just providing that deep pressure. Deep pressure is always calming. You can never go wrong with it. So that's a great one. Thank you, Samantha. Head squeezes. Is there any specific way? I haven't learned a specific protocol for head squeezes. So whatever you're doing, you can play with it. Feel free to play with this stuff and see what works for your kids. I would say the longer you hold, that's usually more calming than just a quick squeeze. So that's a great
For
question.
that one, Allie, I was actually always taught to push straight down. So you don't want to like try and bend the head. If they like that pressure, you just push straight down.
Okay, great. Thank you for saying that. I wasn't taught that one. So yeah, there you go. Pushing straight down and not some weird way. Thank you.
I was going to say, just in general, they'll let you know if they don't like it.
Yeah, for sure.
You'll find out real quick.
Exactly. You never want to force these. These should always be enjoyable and fun. They bond you with the kid. And like I said, it's preventative. You want to start your sessions with these to help ease your sessions. They learn so much better when their bodies are calm.
Is there a certain amount of time like we should take into this? Like, is 1 minute enough or do we need more?
Great question. So every little bit helps. So if you have a client who will only tolerate you doing 2 squeezes on their arm and that's it for the day, that's fine. You got the 2 squeezes in. It's hard because we want to be perfect and we want to see progress right away, but every little bit helps. As far as like the protocol, as long as you go up both arms, up both legs, that's a full protocol. You're good. If the kid requests more, like kids might I have kids that will earn this. Like I always start with it, but then they can work for it for more. So the more, the better, but every little bit helps too. So don't get caught up with like time. I know it's hard because we want to be like, what exactly do we do? But every little bit helps. I do this randomly of the day and it's specific to each child. Yeah, Emily. So every kid is different and nothing is going to be perfect. Some kids only do it sitting. Some kids are standing. Laying down is probably the best just because they're super calm when they lay down. But yeah, every kid's different.
Some kids fall asleep. Yeah.
Yes, Cassie puts my kids to sleep all the time. They'll just be laying and so relaxed they fall asleep, which is awesome. All right, you guys good on that? And if you guys have questions, email me, Allie.Williams. So I love this stuff. So thank you guys. Have a great weekend. We can
Thanks,
go.
guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Yep.